So you got the call from Ralph Patrick, and what was your reaction to, a field that you hadn't thought about, but they were
epidemiology? What? What did you say? What is that? If I had heard of epidemiology, it would have been accidental or something. I knew nothing about it. But he said, well, come on down and let's have a conversation. So, okay, it's around Christmas time of '72, and I felt I needed a break, and if they wanted to pay for me to come to Chapel Hill, which is only 3 hours from where I grew up, who am I to say no? But I really wasn't very interested. And I knew nothing about it. And I said, well, this will be practice, for going on the job market. And so I came really pretty relaxed. I didn't care much whether I impressed anybody or not. And the first interviews weren't really all that inspiring. To put it mildly. What do I have to say? What do I have to talk about with a parasitologist, right? I knew absolutely nothing about that, or virology. But over the course of the day, the conversations got more and more interesting. I met David Kleinbaum, vice statistician.
Oh, yeah.
We're both, Brooklyn Dodgers fans. He's from Brooklyn and so on. So, interesting guy,
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be fun to kind of, at least I'm glad I met him.
Yeah,
We'll never see him again, but I'm glad I met him. But more to the point, so at the end of the day, I suspect Vic has heard this point. And maybe you two you heard it as well, Bill. At the end of that very first day, I was here for 2 days. At the end of the first day, I had an interview with John Castle. And I walk into his office, maybe it's 4 o'clock, and I'm pretty convinced now. Nope, this is not going to be for me. I'm just going to try to get through this and get through tomorrow, and I'm out of here to go see my folks. Sit down with John Castle. He's sitting behind his desk, fiddling with his pipe.
Yes. Yes.
Fiddling with this pipe, and he just starts talking.
Yeah. Right.
And about epidemiology, more specifically about social epidemiology, and why someone like me should be interested in it. Being a black Southerner, and starts talking about black-white. At the time, we weren't saying health disparities, but he was talking about. Just
minority health,
minority health,
right.
Or the challenges.
Yeah,
and obviously, I didn't know this until much later, but drawing on his own experience in South Africa, as a way of underscoring just how important, an appreciation for social, economic, and political and cultural factors are, some of which could be health promoting, and oftentimes they're not. Oftentimes they're health compromising. And so that if I were interested, in being involved in a field that really brought together science and a commitment and interest in social justice, this was the field. Really? And so because I came of age, as you, Bill, in the civil rights era, we're always looking for ways to make a contribution, but to do so in a way that fits who we are as people, right? So I began to think that hey, this might be a way to make a contribution to things I care about in terms of social justice issues, in terms of African Americans, circumstances in America, through academics. Through teaching, through research. Now, this is something that kind of evolved over time. It's not like I made all of these connections at once in one conversation, but the seed was planted by his exposition about what epidemiology is about. Yeah. Right? It's just like, so then I began to think, well, gosh, maybe this is really what I've been looking for all of my life. With medicine, science, social science, it's like, in a sense, the ministry, healing, bringing people together, I said, well, I began to think, well, gosh, this is so much broader and richer in terms of possibilities than academic psychology would be, or that the ministry would be, or medicine would be. And so I didn't think that they were. By this time, I'm interested. I want to know more. So for the remainder of the second day, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat trying to learn as much as I possibly can about this thing called epidemiology. I'm no longer, sitting back and being nonchalant. And so by the end of that second day, I mean, my head is in a different place. About this is really very interesting. But I didn't think that they were going to offer me the job. I said, well, sure, they must have somebody else in mind. But 3 weeks later, I got a call from Ralph Patrick saying, we'd like to offer you a job. I said, wow. So I thought about it, talked about it with my professors, talked about it with my wife, and we realized that there were perhaps a lot of reasons for coming to North Carolina, coming to Chapel Hill. Howard Lee was mayor of Chapel Hill at the time. That was interesting and different and new. And so we could be closer to our parents, our respective parents, our kids, our boys. We had 2 boys at the time, 2 little boys. They could be closer to their grandparents. And there was this exciting field, that I would be challenged by, I could learn and grow, learn new things. Why not give it a shot? If it doesn't work out, I can beat a hasty retreat back to something I do know about.